What's up, Warriors Nation? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report. If you're as hungry for tidbits that could shake up the Bay Area as we are, buckle up. First things first, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And ring the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into every twist and turn that could propel our squad back to the top. Now, let's talk about a rumor that's been reverberating through Oracle Arena and beyond. Whispers that Golden State is setting its sights on a perimeter specialist who could lock down shifty guards and knock down threes in a heartbeat. But hold on. Before I drop any names, let's peel back the layers of how this could all go down and why it matters so much for our dynasty ambitions. It started with an insider note from Boston. Word is that the Celtics might be willing to move. A dynamic two-way guard whose electrifying playoff performances last spring left opponents scrambling. We're talking about a player who averaged over 16 points, nearly 5 boards, and close to 5 assists per game during the regular season, and then elevated his game in the playoffs, flirting with 19 points per contest when it mattered most. Imagine that kind of production coming off the bench for the Dubs, providing instant scoring bursts and locking down the opponent's best young guard on the other end. Could this be the secret sauce to shore up our bench and keep the rotation fresh through a grueling postseason run? Here's the catch. Acquiring someone of that caliber won't come cheap. Rumors suggest the Celtics would demand a mix of promising young talent and future draft assets. That means a package featuring players like Moses Moody, whose wingspan and scoring potential already have Warriors fans buzzing, or perhaps a sharpshooting rookie who made waves early on with clutch buckets. Throw in an unprotected first-rounder or two from upcoming drafts, and you start to see why this trade talk is more than just idle chatter. Boston knows that any offer has to truly level them up in their quest to balance a star-studded backcourt, featuring Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So the question becomes, are the Dubs prepared to mortgage part of their future to land a player who could tip the scales immediately? From a stylistic standpoint, think about how this move would mesh with Steve Kerr's blueprint. We already know Steph Curry thrives when defenses collapse in the paint, and Klay Thompson is at his best when defenses are stretched thin. Add in a guard who can both create his own shot and credibly defend the perimeter, and you've got a versatile move-maker who could seamlessly slot into the flow. Picture this. It's late in the fourth quarter of a playoff tilt. The score is tight, and the Celtics send their hotshot backcourt duo to defend Curry. Instead of settling for isolation, Curry engines the offense until he spots our new acquisition. Curling off a screen, drills a catch-and-shoot three, and then hustles back on defense to frustrate their facilitator. That level of two-way impact is precisely what makes this rumor so tantalizing. But let's not gloss over the challenges. Salary cap gymnastics will be required if Golden State is serious. Our payroll is already flirting with luxury tax thresholds. After locking up our core, to make salaries align, they might need to facilitate a sign-and-trade, officially sign the incoming guard to a maximum extension, and then funnel back an equal amount of salary via a mutual exchange of contracts. That could mean moving off a veteran like Otto Porter Jr., or asking someone like Nemanja Bjelica to agree to a buyout. Each of those scenarios carries risk, losing veteran leadership in the locker room or sacrificing depth. Is the front office ready to roll the dice on cap space for a chance at elevating our title odds? Only time will tell. From a chemistry standpoint, inserting a new ball handler and stopper into a rotation that already relies heavily on Draymond Green's defensive leadership and playmaking could be tricky. But if anyone can make it work, it's Kerr. He's proven time and again that he can integrate talented newcomers. Look at how seamlessly Andrew Wiggins transformed into a key contributor on both ends of the court. Our rumored target is known for his grit. When matchup posters swirl among opposing fans' nightmares, it's because he's relentless on defense. At 6'4", with a stout frame and quick hands, he can switch onto guards and wings alike. What if he's the missing piece that locks up our second unit defensively while giving Kerr a trustworthy playmaker when Steph rests? Social media has exploded with expectations. You've probably seen mock-ups of our prospective newcomer in royal blue and gold, his name printed beneath the Warriors logo. Dub fans are already imagining lineups where Curry, Thompson, and our new guard are out there together, creating chaos with unselfish movement. Over on Reddit, there's debate about whether we should be more aggressive, trade away emerging pieces for an established vet, or hold on to our youth and draft capital, in hopes of a long-term rebuild. The debate speaks volumes about how high the stakes are. This could be a one-way ticket to the NBA Finals, or it could backfire and leave us scrambling for years to come. Meanwhile, the Celtics camp isn't sitting still. Sources indicate that Boston is weighing counteroffers, perhaps dangling a different piece or packaging multiple role players to keep the core intact. It's a chess match across the Atlantic, with front offices poring over analytics and chemistry metrics to determine if this trade makes their roster more balanced or just more crowded. For Golden State, the benefit lies in adding someone who can slide into the rotation immediately. No lengthy acclimation process. That's priceless when you're chasing a title. Now, let's ponder the inevitable fan reactions in the Bay Area. Hardcore supporters are likely salivating at the prospect of watching this new face patrol the perimeter, contest every drive, and nail open threes right alongside our Splash Brothers. The younger guards might relish learning from a seasoned vet who's already proven his mettle on basketball's biggest stages. Yet, there's also a contingent worried about diluting the team's DNA, the hallmark ball movement, the spirit of unselfish basketball, and the continuity that's driven our dynasty. Could adding an alpha score upset the delicate balance that Kerr meticulously curates? We've seen failed superteam experiments in the past. This franchise cannot afford to repeat history. Still, consider the playoff implications. If this rumored guard truly elevates his game under postseason pressure, how many more opponents could fall victim to our revamped backcourt? An offense led by Curry, with cutting lanes paved by Thompson and our new guard, all while Draymond orchestrates and towers over the glass. Does that sound like a championship blueprint? To me, it's electrifying. The mere possibility injects a sense of urgency into the fan base. Every Toyota Center ticket, every Dub Nation rally, every Twitter debate suddenly feels like it could be the precursor to basketball history. As part one of our deep dive, we've scratched the surface of what this potential deal means for Golden State. In part two, we'll unpack specific package proposals, dig into cap details, and forecast how adding this guard reshapes our lineup. But for now, Warriors faithful, let these possibilities swirl in your mind, because if the front office pulls the trigger, we might just be witnessing the dawn of another championship era. Before we jump into the final verdict, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report so you stay locked in on every update and insider perspective. Now, Warriors faithful, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how adding a guard like Derek White could reshape our roster and what the ripple effects might be across the NBA. First, let's break down a plausible trade scenario that would satisfy Boston's need for assets while giving us the two-way stopper we crave. The Celtics, looking to clear cap space and balance their backcourt featuring Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, would likely demand a combination of young talent and draft picks. Imagine a package featuring Moses Moody, our electrifying wing whose defensive versatility and improving three-point stroke have already made fans sit up and take notice, alongside a promising sharpshooter from our recent draft. To sweeten the deal, Golden State could include one or two unprotected first-round picks, perhaps the 2026 and 2028 selections, giving Boston long-term flexibility to rebuild around their young core. Of course, matching salaries is non-negotiable, so adding a veteran like Nemanja Bjelica or Otto Porter Jr. might be necessary. Each name in this package carries weight. Moody represents a potential future starter, the draft picks could become game-changing talents, and a veteran filler helps Boston manage its salary constraints. In return, we get Derek White, 30 years old in his prime and coming off an impressive extension. From a financial standpoint, absorbing White's contract requires precision. Golden State could facilitate a sign and trade by briefly signing him to the maximum and then swapping salaries, ensuring we remain compliant with cap rules. At the same time, the front office might explore buyouts for players on expiring deals. Bjelica's contract, for example, could be stretched to ease short-term tax burdens. The stretch provision might also be employed to spread one player's cap hit over multiple seasons, creating wiggle room to keep our core intact. None of these moves are without risk. Losing depth, veteran leadership, or future flexibility can come back to haunt a team, but when the prize is a confident perimeter defender who can average 16-plus points per game in the playoffs, those risks feel worth considering. On the court, integrating White into Steve Kerr's system would be an exercise in maximizing synergy. Curry, Thompson, and Draymond will continue to form the core pillars of offense and defense, but White's arrival means Kerr suddenly has a guard capable of running the offense in spurts. When Steph sits, White can initiate, calling pick and rolls, with Draymond or spotting up in catch-and-shoot scenarios. His playoff experience and calm under pressure would be invaluable in late-game situations, when every possession is magnified. Defensively, picture White switching onto opposing guards. His quick hands and lower body strength enable him to hound ball handlers, disrupting rhythm and forcing contested shots. During games where teams aggressively hunt matchups, trying to isolate our wings. White's ability to stick on smaller, shifty players could neutralize one of our biggest weaknesses from last season, allowing backcourt penetration. Klay Thompson, free to roam off ball and set deadly screens, would benefit enormously from having White as a foil, knowing that if the ball swings his way, defenses must respect the threat at the rim. Already, our starting lineup plays at such a pace that ball movement often creates open looks before defenses can react. Adding White amplifies that dynamism. His experience with pick and rolls and off-ball cutting means he understands how to exploit the space generated by Curry and Thompson's gravity. The second unit also gains a new leader. When young players like Jonathan Kuminga or Brandon Podziemski need respite, Derek can step in, stabilize the offense, and keep oppositions honest. Imagine a scenario where, in the third quarter, Steph rests and the lineup shifts to Draymond calling plays, Klay spotting up, Moody running wing cuts, and White orchestrating from one wing. That's nightmare fuel for opponents, especially when Derek can also guard multiple positions, an attribute that allows Kerr to mix defensive schemes on the fly, opting for switching or more traditional drop coverage depending on the mismatch. Now, let's consider the broader implications in the Western Conference. If Warriors acquire White, the Lakers, already rumored to be hunting for a third star, might feel pressure to make their own move, perhaps targeting a savvy veteran or doubling down on youth in a separate trade. The Suns, who just rebuilt around Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, would need to assess whether their depth is sufficient to counter a Warriors backcourt bolstered by White's two-way prowess. But Derek's track record indicates he's comfortable playing second fiddle when necessary, focusing instead on winning. Steve Kerr's coaching will be pivotal here, remapping roles, adjusting rotation minutes, and cultivating trust that each star knows exactly when to assert himself. Veteran leadership from Draymond, Klay, and Steph would smooth the transition, ensuring that White's integration accelerates rather than hinders cohesion. Of course, no trade plan is foolproof. Some skeptics warn that mortgaging future draft picks for a 30-year-old guard with 4 seasons left on his contract could hamstring us if injuries strike or if youth development stalls. If the models suggest that White's addition elevates our projected win total by even 2 or 3 games, that could be the nudge needed to finalize a blockbuster. As part 2 of our deep dive, we've unpacked trade details, salary cap maneuvers, on-court fit, and potential league-wide reverberations. We're standing on the edge of a cliff where one bold leap could result in another championship banner or a pivot scramble for future assets. But, Warriors Nation, here's the bottom line. If Golden State manages to land Derek White without sacrificing our soul or financial stability, we're looking at a roster capable of matching up squarely with any contender in the NBA. A backcourt, featuring Curry's unrivaled shooting, White's two-way tenacity, and Klay's off-ball brilliance anchored by Draymond's cerebral defense. That's a cocktail for basketball nirvana. So, what do you think about all of this? Personally, I can't help but feel electrified by the thought of White's tenacity alongside our established core. Watching him hound ball handlers on one end and then slip into a catch-and-shoot spot off a Curry screen give me chills. But I also recognize the gamble. Giving up draft picks and young talent for short-term gain is a high-wire act. Do you trust Kerr's system and the front office's vision enough to pull the trigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to know how you'd weigh the risk versus reward. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Until next time, stay golden.